Hi everybody, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com and welcome back to another video for the Greeting Farm. So today I am using the Beach Bum stamp set, which was released in May. I do believe this was last month's release. Anyway, I am going to stamp out the girl and her blanket or beach towel or whatever you want to call it here on Neenah's Solar White 80-pound cardstock, and I'm just stamping it with a Copic friendly black ink. So we're going to get that done. And this video I have only sped up 1.5 times its original speed. This was a super fast and simple card to put together for me. So the video itself was only about 24-ish minutes to start with. So I sped it up and it kept it around 15. So I decided to leave it a little bit slower for you guys so the coloring's a little more detailed and all of that fun stuff if you want to watch it. If not, don't forget, there's always that little gear on your YouTube screen and you guys can speed it up to make it a little faster for yourself and all of that fun stuff. So I'm starting off with my usual skin tone combo. It's kind of the one that's always in my back pocket and I use 99% of the time. I really need to branch out. But we're starting with E04. As you can see, I put all of the caps to the left side of the image I'm coloring so you can see what images or what markers I'm using at all times when I'm coloring here. So I'm just starting in by laying all of my darkest shadows. So those will fall anywhere where a cast shadow will be caused. So like where her hair sits in front of her face in front of her neck, her bathing suit, of course. And then I do a little bit on the inside of her legs and the underside of her arms, just to give her a little roundness and fullness to her body. These images are ever so cute. I've been a fan of the Greeting Farm forever, since I started stamping, and that was a lot of years ago already. So I'm blessed to be part of Marie's design team and get to work with everybody here, and it's super fun. And I love when Claudette sends me a message and asks me to pop on the YouTube channel here for you guys and do a little video and give you guys like a process and all of that kind of fun stuff. I really enjoy doing this, so I hope you guys enjoy watching them as well. So we're going to get all of her skin colored up. I do add a little bit of pinkness to her cheeks when we get to that step. I love how these images are super detailed, but they're simplistic enough to color, I would say. And the size of these ones are great. These are not as large as the Anyas are, but they're not as tiny as the minis. So they're kind of like the in-between size. And it's my personal favorite size. Everybody's got their favorites and everything, but I really do enjoy this size. It's big enough that I can not feel like I'm trying to cram a bajillion colors into a tiny little piece, which is, you know, I have this obsession with using all the colors all the time. So I have plenty of room to play with them, and it's not too small, and then it's not a real large one where the only focal is that image. So it's personal preference. I'll color them all, I'll love them all, and I will keep them all. I will not destash my Greeting Farm stamps, not at any time in the foreseeable future. Anyway, so we're just starting to blend in our 00, and then I will add the pinkness to the cheeks, and then we will finish up her skin and move on to her hair. I hope everybody's doing well. I live in Canada. We finally got rain where I live. We needed it so bad. Now I need to mow my lawn so bad. But you know, that kind of happens. Added in the rosiness of her cheek and then blending this out with the lightest colors. So I'm really enjoying these beachy and summer themed stamps and gearing up to enjoy the sunshine and take my son to the lake and, you know, do all of that fun stuff. He's in ball right now and we're kind of going and going and going, and I'm just enjoying the warm weather and everything heating up and drag racing starting, and then there's the exhibition to take him to, and it's lots of fun stuff all summer long, which means I'm super busy, but that's okay. I don't like to sit around and do nothing. Like I don't watch TV very often, and I just don't. So it's all good for me, and I enjoy all of the summer themed stamp sets and all of that, knowing that soon I will live in a frozen wasteland for 6 months again. But that's okay. I have accepted it. Working on hair. So when I do most of my coloring, I only do one layer of color and I work dark to light. But when I do hair, I do work light to dark, and that's simply so that the dark colors don't get blended and faded out with the light ones, because that's not what I'm trying to achieve with the hair. I'm trying to get those flicks in there, and that's why I'm holding my marker super vertically on the image so that I can get those fine little flicking motions and little points on my flicks with all of my marker colors as I work my way through them. I do find just practicing on a scrap piece of paper really helped me, and you'll see how my hand gets in the way as I'm doing these, and that's simply because I have to hold my marker as straight as I possibly can. I do try to get it so that you guys can see most of it, but a lot of the time my hand is in the way and I can't help it. I could film it from the side, but I would just, if you're trying to practice with the flicking motions, I would just hold my marker as vertically as possible and just barely let the tip of that marker graze across your paper. And find what's more comfortable from you. Some people like to flick away from their bodies. Some people like to flick towards them. I do both a lot of the time. But lots of people have a personal preference and they've developed one way that they enjoy doing it, and that's the way they tend to do it. And I mean, definitely do what works for you the best. You don't have to do it the way anybody else does. It's fun to watch a bunch of people you really enjoy coloring if you can find them on YouTube, and if they do videos, to watch the way they do things and the order in which they use their markers and what kind of color combos they're pulling together and stuff. And you can pull a little bit from this colorist that you like and that one and that one and that one, and then develop your own style based upon all of them, kind of combining your favorite parts and leaving out the parts that you don't personally care for so much. We all color differently, and everybody enjoys something a little bit different. So it's definitely worth pulling in those things you like from one colorist and leaving behind those parts that aren't your personal favorite and you find that you enjoy better from somebody else. So it's nice to just take all of those different pieces and pull them all together and come up with your own individual style for coloring and all that fun stuff. And definitely there's nothing wrong either with pulling up somebody's image and trying to that they've colored from a stamp company and trying to replicate it for yourself, and that will definitely help you figure out what techniques you like and what techniques you don't. But don't feel bad if you're pulling up a photo of, I'll use myself for example so nobody else can get upset with me, but if you were to pull up like the photo of this card at the end and try and exactly copy where all of my shadows are and everything else in that image, there's nothing wrong with doing that and putting it on a card. Absolutely whatsoever. There is nothing wrong with that. If you're going to copy the entire card, I do appreciate if you say that you lifted it from me. You don't have to. I'll get over it. No big deal. But it'll help you develop your own personal style the longer you're coloring and the more you do this. As your hobby and things, you will develop that own style and practice. I mean, I posted a picture a while ago on Instagram of one of the greeting farm images that I had colored like way back when I first started with markers in like, I think it was 2012 or 2013, something like that, maybe even 2011. I don't know, it was years ago, of how I colored then with the marker stash I had then. And then I posted one in 2015, I do believe it was, for how far I had come with my shading and things. And I'm thinking about coloring her one more time now so that I can show the 3 progression difference. Because as the years have gone on and as I've gotten more comfortable with my markers and things, my coloring style has definitely developed greatly, and it's changed, and the amount of shading and the amount of detail I put in and my ability to color with confidence with all of these colors and layering all of these different shades and creating this depth has come simply from coloring lots. So there is no like magical cure-all or magical make me color like somebody else. It's definitely just tons and tons of practice. I color almost every day. So we're working on her yellow bikini because when I saw this image, I got the yellow polka dot bikini song stuck in my head. I didn't put polka dots on it, but I colored it yellow nonetheless. So I started off with an E35 and that just gave her lots of depth in her bathing suit. And then I jumped into the yellows. They still blend out really, really nice. So I'm going to work on her beach blanket now. I do find I like to flick away or towards me. I don't like to do it sideways. So that is why I turned it sideways on its side here so I could flick up and down and pull the marker towards or away from me to create the shading on her blanket. And I'm going to do 4 blue stripes and 2 pinky red color. They look more red in the photo, so we'll go with red. Red stripes on her blanket. And instead of alternating them, I just did like 2 blue, 2 red, 2 blue. So we'll get all of those colored up. I love this. I'm going to use this stamp set to death. I've had tons of fun with it. I have another card coming up that I did with it. It's sitting in front of me. I can't wait for you guys to see that one. That one's super fun. It's like a shark trying to eat her in the water. I think it's hilarious. But anyway, I digress. Back to this. So I started off with B99, which is one of the deepest, dullest blues that Copic currently makes. And I used that to break in all of my shadows. And then I jumped to a B29, which is a bright blue. I just wanted to get that depth of color. You could use a gray, like one of your C's or an N or anything like that as well to get that dark color. But I just grabbed B99 because I figured it would work really well. And then I'm going to brighten it up with the B29, 28, and 24 to finish off the red color here, or the blue color, the red color, the blue color, Jess-c. It's definitely blue. So we're just flicking it all in and getting those areas all colored up. I hope everybody has a great week. It's Monday. I personally like Mondays. I don't know, I don't mind them a lot of the time. I think they're fun. The sun is shining. Life is great. Everybody's happy and healthy. I'm great. I hope you guys are happy and healthy and having a great day as well, and enjoy the rest of your week. I'm running out of things to talk about, FYI. So I'm just scribbling that right over top to get those colors to blend together, because that B28 and B24 are quite the jump apart from each other. You'll see that again here when I do the red color. So I'm starting with the R37, and I'm following the exact same process that I did with the Bs. I'm pulling that dark color almost to the halfway point, and then I'll fill it in with the next color, just to give it a little bit of depth and dimension. And so you can see where it looks like the panels of color are sewn together or printed together in her towel here. And then I'm going to go in with this R35 and just pull it further in. The R32 I had to put a couple coats on just to get it to blend decent with that R35. I find that's quite a color jump in terms of the way the markers skip in color. There's just not quite as much saturation in that as the R35, and it's quite a tonal difference. So I go around it a couple times just to give it enough shading. The R30 is pretty bright as well for the center, a pretty non-vibrant color, but it works out all right, and a lot of it gets colored when I pop the girl up on top at the end. So we're just going to finish this off. Then I do take, I have an EK Success journaling pen that I will take, and I will re-outline all of these markers. I find that the black ink is just not quite strong enough that I used on this one, and once I color over it, it ends up being a little desaturated. So I use the 0.5 inch tip here, and I'm going to trace every single line that Marie has drawn. So all of the artist drawn lines on these images, I'm just going to trace over and reinforce them. Then I popped them through the die cut machine and got them all cut out. Now I'm going to create the background here. So I'm using Distress Oxides, and I'm starting off with Walnut Stain, Vintage Photo, and Antique Linen will be the third one here. And those are the colors I'm going to use. And I just start blending them on. I do end up having to make myself a little bit of a mask. I just cut it out of cardstock freehand after to give me the top edge of like the sand hill type deal she's laying on. Just because with the round tools and trying to freehand it it just wasn't working. So I went that route instead. You'll see where I have right away here where I end up with that fuzzy edge, and I didn't want that look. So laying down the Antique Linen, then I'll come in with the Vintage Photo. And just blending them together. It's not going to be perfectly blended right now. I will go back in with the Antique Linen at the end, and that will help give me a smooth transition between all of my colors here. This is our Walnut Stain. And this is where I kind of was trying to make my own line, and it's just not going to work because it's an ink blending tool, and it's not going to work, Jessie. So then I take just a scrap piece of cardstock and I cut myself out my little mask. I'll just pop in with it here right away. I don't believe I filmed cutting it out. No, there it is. So see, I drew a line, and now I'm just popping it up on top, and I'm just going to hold it with my hand. No big deal, because it was almost all done anyway. And I'm going to start laying down the color there all the way to that line. Blend it all together. Then I'm going to pull back out that Antique Linen and blend over top of everything, like I said, to give it a little bit of smoother transitions between all of the colors. Sorry, I think I was mumbling there. I do that once in a while when I don't think people are listening. You know. So there is our edge. I'm not sure how I got that little splot up at the top. You can see it there. So I take just some clean clear water on a brush here, and I'm splatting it around on the Distress Oxide panel, and then I'm going to lift that all up with a piece of paper towel so it creates some texture in it. And then I scribble, or I put some Antique Linen down onto just a piece. This is one of those Ariel stamp pockets. I use them all the time, so I have lots of them kicking around, and I use one for stuff like this. So I mix it with water, and then I'm just going to splat that on top. And then I'm going to take some, I think I pull out the Walnut Stain I don't use that one. I use the Vintage Photo. I changed my mind. And I just put that on and add water to it and do the same thing as well. And I'm just going to add some more splats. So get those all splatted up. Then I'm going to start working on my layout here. I'm going to glue this panel down onto a A2 size top folding card. So that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and my panel is 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to tape that down on top. And then I'm going to come in and put our little beach blanket on. That's taped flat, and then she is up on foam tape, popping her on top. Then I'm going to take our sentiment here, which is girls just want to have sun, and I'm going to stamp that up at the top. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give me a big thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, definitely subscribe. If you want to make sure you don't miss any videos because YouTube's funny, hit the bell icon. And I'll see you guys very soon in another one. Bye for now.